We're going to get started. Buenos dias. Buenos dias, amigos y amigas. Good morning, friends. I hope you're enjoying this glorious weather. We are here for a very, very important event. I'm wearing actually three hats today. I'm Diana Palomar. I'm Vice President of Community Engagement for WLS-TV, ABC7 Chicago. I am privileged to be a trustee for the National Museum of Mexican Art, and it is indeed my honor to be your MC this morning as we recognize and celebrate an important project for this museum, many, many years in the making. So let's get started. Thank you all for being here today. It's a glorious day, and it means a lot to our museum family. We have a lot to get through, so let's begin today's program with Sally Nieto, the Vice Chair of our Board of Trustees. Sally?
Gracias, Diana. I've had the privilege of being the chair of our strategic planning committee, and one of our goals was to create this parking lot plaza. And here we are today, complete. It wouldn't have been possible without the support of so many people. Our governmental leaders have been so supportive. I'd like to thank the following individuals who are here with us today. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Governor Pritzker, whose staff has also worked with him to make this possible. In addition to Governor Pritzker, we have the Consul General of Mexico, Ambassador Reina Torres Mendeville, Congressman Jesus Chuy Garcia, Speaker of the House, Emmanuel Chris Welch, Cook County President, Tony Preckwinkle, City Clerk Ana Valencia, State Senator Selena Villanueva, State Representative Delia Ramirez, Alderman Byron Cicho Lopez, Alderman Gil Villegas, Alderman Carlos Ramirez Rosa, Illinois Appellate Court Justice Jesse Reyes, who's also a former museum trustee, Commissioner Ira Corral Sepúlveda of the Water Reclamation District, and we also have Ruben Bautista, who's representing the State Representative Teresa Ma. Thank you all.
Gracias, Sally. Thank you all for being here, esteemed guests. Our next speaker is Roberto Valencia, a museum trustee and the chair of our Plaza Parking Lot Committee. The committee has diligently been working on this project for over a year, actually longer. Roberto, please.
Thank you, Diana. Let me begin by thanking all of you for attending today and each and every member of the Parking Lot Committee. This project has been in the works, as Diana mentioned, for a couple of years, and with the input and robust discussions from the entire committee, we have reached the finish line. You were all great to work with. Now let me walk you through a little bit about the new Ray Castro Plaza. The Ray Castro Plaza will have dual purposes. It is a 50-car parking lot and will also serve as a plaza for community events and concerts. One of our guiding principles was to award this project to as many local, minority, or women-owned businesses. We started with an excellent architectural professional team working on this project, Walin and Gomez, architects led by Agustin Gomez Leal, and Vice President Joanna Ruiz. Joanna was instrumental in corralling our ideas and then helped us execute them flawlessly. She was a great help to me and the team. Thank you very much, Joanna. We spent a considerable amount of time, yes, give her a round, please. We spent a considerable amount of time searching for a minority-owned general contractor, and we worked with Blackwood Group, led by Jose Duarte and Rafael Hernandez. It was time well spent. They have done a tremendous job, as you can see, as a general contractor overseeing the project from beginning to today. To get the feel of a plaza, we invested in the beautiful pavers that you're standing on right now, that you see laid out throughout the entire parking area. And also here on the stage, when you have a chance, you can see the bricks that have been laid out here on top. We have to thank Orion Land, Water, Snow Incorporated for the great work led by Miguel Sotelo. The landscaping design and work surrounding the plaza was created by Christy Weber and Company, a local women business enterprise. Now, you might not see the amazing work on drainage and plumbing that's underneath this brick, but trust me, it's there. All done with great quality work by Rocha Plumbing, led by Rene Rodriguez. And to frame this entire property, we needed great quality concrete, which was provided by 7D Construction, led by Javier Diaz. We also have on the stage the pavers donated by a large group of museum supporters. Let me thank all those individuals who bought pavers to support the construction of this space. I'd also like to highlight the black iron fence that you see around the plaza with the pyramid design that matched the museum outer wall, and the steel sign with the museum's logo as you walk in the lot. These were designed and built by the Ibarra Group, led by Bobby Ibarra, and his master craftsman, who did a beautiful job molding the steel. One last feature is the museum's name that you see right here below in front of the stage. And this design will be etched in every picture taken to remember where they spent their time in the National Museum of Mexican Art. Finally, I want to thank the entire staff of the museum for their excitement and desire to make this project come to life. They endured the construction challenges inside and outside of the museum, and they did it with great enthusiasm. This was a fun project to tackle and execute, and we're looking forward to the exciting events that will take place in this plaza. Thank you, and let me pass it back to Diana.
Thank you, Roberto. You know, this was the first time that I've seen the parking lot since it was finished, and it's just so exciting, and it's so beautiful, and it means so much to those of us on the committee, those of us at the museum, and I'm sure many of you here in the community, so thank you again for being here. Thank you, Roberto. And now I have the pleasure of introducing the museum's chair, Carlos Cardenas, who has been a tremendous leader for our board. Carlos?
First of all, wow, this project that you're standing on, I've mentioned that it's been in the making for a couple of years, and actually it's been a couple of decades. I joined the board not so long ago, but it's been a while, 2008, and it was in discussion back then. So it's a labor of love and finally came to a culmination. So welcome, everyone. A beautiful day, a wonderful unveiling. And I'm proud to be the chair of the National Museum of Mexican Art, especially during these trying times. We have a great and a very active board. As you heard from Roberto Valencia, one of our trustees that took the lead on this project. So many like him on various other projects that we have ongoing. So as I mentioned, this project was decades in the making. We've discussed it since prior to 2008. And thank you, Eve, I think you're out there, there you are, for coordinating today's activities and festivities. So thank you. Going back a number of years, we had incorporated this project as part of our strategic plan to build a parking space for the community, but also to make it a community space plaza for events, as others have mentioned. How are we going to fund it, right? So as part of our strategic plan, we said we're going to raise $10 million. This will be part of it, the costs associated with it. And then also to expand our programming and youth services. You can only imagine how this space can be used for kids within the community and kids that participate in the museum's programming. And also to raise our profile nationally with expanded programming. But the funding, a lot came in the making, really came through the assistance with the state of Illinois via a $1.9 million grant by the DCEO. we had it. We had the funding. It was amazing, right? We were ready to build it. A couple changes in administration, and our funding was a little bit frozen for a while. But thank you, Governor Pritzker, when you came into office, releasing the funds and put to work. Not only jobs, but it's going to be a great economic engine, I think, here for the Pilsen community, much needed for a very long time. So again, the project, we had the funding, we had the funds released, we were ready to break ground, and lo and behold, a little pandemic hits. So at the onset of the pandemic, we were breaking ground. So what do? Do we continue? Do we hold off? We decided to move forward. As Daniel Burnham says, make no little plans, they have no magic to stir men's blood. We decided to forge ahead, and this is the result. Going into late fall, as we were breaking ground and they were moving dirt, we still had funding issues. The museum was closed. Our funding, our typical events were not happening. But again, we decided to move forward. And lo and behold, we get blessed. In the fall, late fall of 2020, we learned that the Ford Foundation named the National Museum of Mexican Art one of America's cultural treasures. Yes. And with that designation came along $3.6 million. So yes, we should cheer for that. Primarily unrestricted, so obviously that gave us the confidence that not only with the state funding that we can continue to move forward even though the museum's doors were technically closed. And you thought that that would be enough. Well, lo and behold, this summer, the balloons are celebrating. This summer, we also received an unsolicited gift. Very odd. It came with just unannounced, and we thought it was fraud at the beginning or some sort of Ponzi scheme. But later we learned we come to learn that it was an unsolicited gift of $8 million by Mackenzie Scott. With no restrictions. So that provides us some of the foundation not only for this project, but for the future. We had been in the midst of a capital campaign to strengthen the museum's resources, to build a foundation in terms of an endowment, and I think we're on our way forward. But again, no little plan, so we continue, although we were blessed with magnificent gifts. So we'll be reaching out to some of you as we launch this additional capital campaign, because we want this museum, this institution to be here for generations to come. Yes, please. So as the nation's leading Mexican culture institution, we will continue to expand our access to broader audiences and to enhance our programming. In closing, I just want to mention, census data, the census just came out, the indicators are the Mexican community is trending to be the nation's largest group of color. We should be proud of that. So. And obviously, it reinforces the museum's mission of celebrating and sharing Mexican culture, and it's as important as ever. So thank you for that. So lastly, I just wanted to close. Thank you, everyone, again, for joining us today, for attending. And then now, let me transition. I want to introduce the proud son of Ray Castro, who this plaza is being named after, and who we are honoring today, my fellow board trustee, and also a former chairman himself, Ray Castro. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Carlos was truly not telling you a lie. We've been working on this for a couple decades. As the longest serving board member on this museum, I joined the museum board in the year 2000. And the first thing Carlos said to me is he pointed to this empty lot here and said, "We want a parking lot here. We should work on it." And I'll tell you a little bit more about that story in the intervening years as I introduce the governor at the end of my remarks. Today is an important day for the museum. It's an important day for the Castro family. I was talking to my sons, in particular Nez, last night about what today means. And I said, we're going to talk about Grandpa. But this isn't a sad day. This is a celebration of his life and of his legacy. And it's fitting that we do this on the eve of us reopening our Day of the Dead exhibit, which we had to close because of the pandemic. And we are reopening our doors to the exhibit, which is our most important and well-attended exhibit. But more importantly, it is our community's celebration, not of death, but of life, where we bring together the people and the things and the enjoyable moments that we shared with those loved ones who have transitioned to the other side. So today is a celebration of Ray Castro. So for those of you who know me, know I'm a man of great emotion. So as I tell you about my dad, my emotions get the best of me, I ask that you bear with me. I hope you had a chance to look at the plaque. If you haven't, please do so. I know half this crowd is Castros, and you know him well. Let's hear it loud. Come on, you're Castros. I expect more than that. All right. I've got siblings, I've got aunts, I've got cousins, I've got nieces and nephews, I've got my two sons and their mom here, and we are so happy to be celebrating Ray Castro. Because you know what? His story is on that monument, that plaque. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that story, the legacy that he left, the accomplishments that this young kid from South Chicago, whose parents came from Mexico almost a century ago, was able to accomplish, not for himself, but for his family and his community. And as I tell you about my dad's legacy that's set forth on that plaque, if my dad were here, the thing that would impress him most about that plaque that talks about him is the fact that we had it coated in a special covering that is protected by battleships. That protects battleships in the sea, because my dad was a Navy man. And a lot of what he did was for our veterans. In fact, I wear his pin, his Navy pin today. Whatever you called my dad, whether it was Pa, Grandpa, brother, Muggsy, commander, fellow veteran, there were real values that stood behind each of those titles. And those values were family and his faith, his community, and his country. From the family perspective, I've already told you there's a bunch of Castros here, but he was 4 of 17 children born to Juan and Juana Castro, who came from Jalisco, Mexico, and Aguascalientes. They came to this country with nothing, literally nothing. But they knew that this country would afford them and their children, and one day their grandchildren and great-grandchildren, a better place to live, a better place to foresee a future for themselves. And even though my dad did not have a formal education, he learned on the streets of South Chicago what it meant to be a Castro, what it meant to be a Mexican, and what it meant to be an American. And he did it in the shadow of Our Lady of Guadalupe Church. In South Chicago, the first settlement of Mexicans in Illinois. And when our parish, during the height of the Vietnam War, lost more men killed in action than any other parish in the United States, at the height of the Vietnam War, when our troops were being spit on when they came home, my dad and my uncles and members of the community, and I got to hold my dad's hand as we went door to door with little coffee cups raising money so that we could put a beautiful marble monument in honor of those 12 men from our community who gave their lives for this country. And to this very day, in fact, to the last breath that he breathed, he was there on Memorial Day and Veterans Day and every day in between, serving and honoring our veterans. And so I want to acknowledge that, because that's an important part of who Ray Castro was and the legacy that he leaves for all of us. His faith, as I said, the church was important to him, but it wasn't just a rote faith. He was learning from his father and his mother that no matter how little you may have on your plate, you always have more than someone else, and you always share a place at your plate for those who are less fortunate. And he took that to heart as he became a community leader and community activist, marching for civil rights, marching for Mexican and Latino rights, but also creating programs for the Mexican and Puerto Rican and black and white ethnic kids in our neighborhood who, but for that baseball camp or but for that summer job that he was able to provide for them, would have gone into gangs. And when he became active in community, he realized that there was a great need, that a lot of the elected officials that were in our community didn't represent our community, didn't do the things that they needed to do to help our community. So he decided that on top of all the other things he was working on, veterans issues, community issues, he was going to seek public office. And this was at a time when the original Mayor Daley was mayor, and in those days you had to go ask for permission. Can you believe that, Governor? You just had to ask for permission. And so I remember the day he was preparing to meet with Mayor Daley the first, Richard the First, and he came home very despondent and upset. I said, "Pa, what happened?" Because, you know, he was my dad, right? He's active in the community. He should be the person to represent South Chicago in the 7th Ward. The mayor said to him, "No, you can't run for office in the 7th Ward because you're Mexican, and Mexicans don't vote." I took that to heart, as did my father. And so today, as we create this plaza named for Ray Castro at the National Museum of Mexican Art, the largest and only accredited Latino museum in the United States of America, we show the world that Mexicans can do a lot more than you expect that we can do. We can make history. We can make the best museums in this nation. And my dad taught me many things. He taught me and my siblings and my extended family and community that he would mentor and help many things. One is never forget where you come from, but never forget where you're going at the same time. Always strive to do better, not just for yourself, but for your community. And to the last breath my father took, he was serving the community, whether as an elected official, whether as a veterans activist, whether just as a citizen, the most important title he felt he ever had. He gave back to the community. And he also taught us that we need to bring people together. He was proud of being Mexican, Mexican American. But he also knew that while we celebrate those things in our culture, we also need to bring everyone together. And the only way he won his campaign was by bringing the Puerto Rican and Mexican, African American and white community together. And he taught us all that we should not divide, but that we should unify. And in fact, if you ever did anything in my dad's presence that was not appropriate, not ethical, not unifying, he would let you know, and you'd know right away that you had to change your ways. And those lessons are part of the legacy that we celebrate today. So what I would like to say to you all is that if Ray Castro were here today, he would be saying, don't talk about me, talk about what we need in our community. Talk about the people who still need to be empowered in our community. Even though he was the first Latino ward committeeman, we have many more Latino and Latina electeds now than we did then, but we do not have enough. We need more. And he would be working to do that. And Governor, I know that you didn't get a chance to meet my dad, but he and you would have really had a good friendship because you're a lot alike. My dad taught us the difference between a politician and a public servant. Politicians are those people who get involved in government for their own good, their own needs, not the needs of others. Public servants, on the other hand, like my father and like Governor Pritzker, they're the ones who get involved in politics for the right reasons, and in fact, make strong and long personal sacrifices to do so. And as Carlos said at his remarks, this effort has taken us a long time. We talked to mayors and governors in the past and elected officials at the federal level to have us create this parking lot, and none of them listened. But thank you to Amalia Rioja, who was then Deputy General Counsel and then Deputy Chief of Staff to a former governor, a Democratic governor. We're able to get resources for this. But then, as Carlos said, the next governor not only put a pause on it, but literally killed this project. This project wasn't going to happen until Governor Pritzker. We went to him and said, Governor, this is a dream we've had for a long time. We need these state dollars. We need you to give us these resources to create this dream, make it a reality. And Governor Pritzker, you said yes. You told us that this was going to be a reality for our community, and I want to thank you for that. And it's been my honor to work with you in a lot of different capacities, whether it was as I became chair of the Human Rights Commission, you were kind enough to show me the ropes that you had just left behind, and whether it was a time we met with community leaders up here in the museum right before you became governor. And I know you've been here many times, but today we are so glad that you are here to help us cut the ribbon for the Ray Castro Plaza. So Governor, our Governor, Jb Pritzker, please join me at the podium.
Thank you very much, Marty. It really is an honor to be here, and especially to be with you, my friend, and someone I've known for quite a number of years now. I guess I should also thank you for welcoming me back to Pilsen and to the museum, and I want to thank you for sharing the inspiring story of your father and his life. You know, your public service and your work to support the mission of this institution embodies the spirit of service that Ray Castro is so fondly remembered for. And so I just want to express on behalf of the people of the state of Illinois my gratitude to you. Thank you. I also want to thank the many community leaders and elected officials who are here to mark this very important occasion. The best days in public service for all of us are when we get to deliver real results for the people that we serve. And that's why it's a pleasure to celebrate this long-awaited investment in Pilsen today. Chicago is home to a lot of premier art institutions, but few embody the vibrancy and the diversity of this city, of this nation, of this world, quite like the National Museum of Mexican Art. While the works in the collection here feature countless genres, artists, and geographic origins, this institution remains rooted in the neighborhood that it calls home. Today's celebration builds on that legacy. Thanks to the spaces that we open today, visitors will not only have for the first time an accessible parking option while visiting the museum, but the surrounding plaza, this plaza, will function as a new community gathering place like it is today, hosting events that will bring Chicagoans and visiting art enthusiasts from around the world. These are the kinds of simple but important investments that keep communities strong. And after years of delay under prior administrations, I'm really proud to help this museum keep its mission moving forward for many years to come. This addition to the museum campus is also an apt tribute to its namesake, to Marty's father, Ray Castro. Not only a U.S. Navy veteran, but the first Mexican-American ward committeeman in Chicago, as Marty said. From his earliest days, organizing after-school programs for children, to his work advocating for Vietnam veterans, and later in city politics, Ray Castro dedicated his life to being a voice for this community's culture, history, and values. The passion that Ray Castro had for Pilsen and its people is one that this museum carries on, a passion reflected in the many individual contributions of those who chipped in to support the neighborhood they love. This plaza's memorial pavers are yet another testament to the museum's vital role in this community, preserving Mexican, Latino, and Chicano art, celebrating cultures, and honoring the immigrants, past, present, and future, that made all these contributions possible. It's the same kind of commitment to inclusivity and hope that I seek to expand upon, to make Illinois a welcoming state. This state welcomed my great-grandfather, a refugee fleeing religious persecution. It welcomed John and Juana Castro, whose son Raymond would go on to become the first Latino ward committeeman in the city of Chicago. And in the coming weeks, we expect to welcome to Illinois hundreds of Afghan refugees, allies of our armed forces, They too need a safe and welcoming place to call home. So I've directed my administration, including the Illinois Departments of Human Services, Emergency Management, Public Health and Healthcare, and Family Services, to coordinate with refugee organizations and resettlement agencies to support a successful transition for the evacuees from Afghanistan. Throughout my governorship, I've dedicated resources and policies toward making Illinois a welcoming state for immigrants. From providing undocumented students with access to state financial aid to preventing landlords from using a tenant's immigration status against them, to requiring local officials to end their partnerships with ICE. We are making sure that inclusion defines what it means to live in Illinois. And investing in this museum is yet another way that we express our belief in the future of our diversity. So thank you again for allowing me to join you today. And with that, I want to turn the podium back over to a dedicated advocate for this museum, someone who already has introduced herself to you, but I just want to reintroduce her as someone that's meaningful, I think, to everyone here and throughout the community, and that is Diana Palomar. Diana?
Wow. You hear that, everybody? No, seriously, thank you. I'm honored. Thank you. And thank you for your time today and your wonderful words. And now I'd like to introduce a man who likely needs no introductions as our museum's founder, Carlos Tortolero.
The first people I want to thank are the people who live right across the street from us, our neighbors. Some of them are here today. We have great, great neighbors. We really, really, really do. I also want to do a shout out to a person who's here today, who's Cleopatra Alexander, a former trustee who championed this for years. And when I first told people were doing it, she had told me that she was in the sofa, began screaming. It was finally going to happen. Her husband freaked out, thought something had happened. She says, "It's the parking lot, the parking lot." So she was always supportive. Good trustee, Cleopatra. I also want to thank staff from the Illinois Department of Commerce, Economic Opportunity. These are people who make things happen, who never get thanked enough, I believe. And they were wonderful to work with. They are David Parr, Derek Cheek, and Teresa DiStasio. They were always so helpful to our staff here to help make this possible. You know, when there's paperwork to do, you all need those people guide you through the paperwork. And these individuals were amazing to work with. So, Governor, you have some good people down there in Springfield for you. So that's very important. I want to thank, our mayor, who's been a big supporter of the museum. I want to thank, the park system. Our park system is wonderful. We have some of the people here. They're great to work with. And I do want to mention that I had the honor to know Ray Castro. I'm a former high school teacher at Bowen High School, southeast side of Chicago. And I'm being honest, you could not go shopping. You couldn't go to a Walgreens. You couldn't go to the park. You couldn't walk your dog without seeing Ray Castro. He was always in the community. Always. You would always see him. He would always say hello. He knew your name. I don't know how he remembers that because I forget everybody's name now. But he was marvelous. I remember one time he was with this guy walking when he was a young guy, and he was always there. So he was really a people's person. He really enjoyed being with people. And for me, it's an honor, a real privilege and honor to know that his name is on this plaza. It means a lot to me. And also for us to honor somebody from South Chicago, because it's always a bit forgotten. It's always Pilsen. We have Mexicanos everywhere. But South Chicago is the first home for Mexicans in the Midwest. And it was a great neighborhood to work in. Oh. The balloons are from South Chicago. To show you the way South Chicago was, when I was teacher there, kids would say, "I'm going to Chicago Sunday." No, you're going downtown. You're already in Chicago. This is South Chicago. But South Chicago felt like its own, space. So I'm very proud tonight. I want to thank each and every one of you, the people who bought pavers, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now, Governor, if you would step down, help us cut the ribbon. Ambassador Reyna, our Mexican consul, and other elected government officials, if you want to surround them. And wait, before you do, let's get the Ray Castro. Yeah, if they can be first, right next to the governor. And then if the elected officials, some of them have left, some of them I'm trying to spot, I can't see. So rather than call individual by name, just come up and fill in the space and try to keep distance. You know, we're trying to be as safe as possible. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Carlos.
And by the way, everybody, if you got your mask, please honor. This is awesome. We are so proud of our masks from the museum. If you want more, you can buy them in the gift shop.